that you are providing to members. I think that individual membership societies, the professional members, for a lot of them, it's a mandatory kind of thing, or close thereto, especially for those who require certification and continuing education that gets provided through their trade association. So those people will always be members of something. Realtors will always be members of their local real estate association because it's providing certain kinds of services and links that they absolutely have to. Where I see the big change is whether or not people are going to be willing to join both a national organization and a state or regional organization. They're going to make a decision as to which one is giving me more of what I need, which one is really meeting my needs, which one is better for networking, and those kinds of decisions about how to zone in, I think, is what's going to make or break trade associations and professional societies going forward.
So if a young person were to come to you today and say, I really would like to work in the not-for-profit sector, and I can tell you the women that I have in my mastermind group, they're pretty sharp, and they could be in any kind of for-profit situation. What would you tell a young person today?
I would tell the young person, be sure you like what you're doing, for starters. I don't think there's anything that's more killing to a career than staying with something or accepting something when it really is nothing but a job. And I'm not trying to sound Pollyanna about that. I know as well as anyone else what it takes to put food on the table. But you have to enjoy what you're doing. You have to feel a sense of satisfaction. I would tell a young person to get into an association and volunteer their little hearts out. Become known as a committee member that is reliable. Look to others who are in the organization who can become mentors. If it's a professional association in the field in which you are working, even better, because the person who agrees informally to be your mentor is also someone who's going to agree to help you on your next career step. You can't start at the top. Nobody's going to start as CEO. Everybody pays dues. Everybody works their way up. So I would say don't give up. Keep pushing. Understand from the outset that you are not going to earn as much ever working in the nonprofit sector as you might be able to command in the private sector. But what you do will give you a return on your investment that will be beneficial, and you'll either decide that it is a good fit and that you want to stay with it, or you'll leave it, one or the other.
Well, you and I are both consultants. Now, we work in different areas, but we both are what's called a consultant. So what would you say that is the most essential quality that a consultant needs to have in order to do a good job for the client, whether it's a pro bono or whether it's a for-profit or a not-for-profit?
Actually, I think there are two. The first one is you have to have a sense of humor. You cannot take everything too seriously, or you'll make yourself crazy. The second thing, and truly the one that is the most important, is you have to be a good listener. You can't be talking all the time. You can't be talking past what your client is trying to tell you. They have a point of view and a perspective and an understanding of their own constituency that all of your experiences in the world can't match. So what you need to do as a consultant, and I know that you do this constantly, is to sit back, listen to what they have to say, and then match it with your experience base and bring that forward as, well, I understand that what you're trying to accomplish is X. And let me tell you how another organization with which I had worked also approached a similar X-type project. Perhaps we can pick up something from what they did and make it work for you. So you have listened carefully, you have reiterated back to them what you understood them to say about their situation or their need. You have gone through your Rolodex of experiences to find several that match, and then you've shown them how you can use that modified to help them meet their needs. But it all starts with listening to what they're telling you. If you walk in as the know-it-all who's going to tell you everything, you're dead in the water.
Well, I have fired clients, and I've had clients that fired me, so or didn't renew a contract. Let's put it like that. So,
Right.
how do you know if you and a client are a good fit or not?
You know that you're a good fit when leadership wants to listen to what you have to say. You know you're a good fit when the CEO of the organization is not threatened by having you provide advice directly to the leadership base of the organization. Especially in a fundraising context, if the leader only wants you to go through them and then they will translate to the board or the fundraising committee everything that you were saying and recommending, that's not a good fit. And in fact, that's exactly what happened to me in that very first National Symphony Orchestra situation. I had a very good rapport with the members of the board and with their fundraising committee. And the senior executive of development at that point in time couldn't tolerate the idea that any of his leadership would dream of speaking with another member of the staff other than with him. And that became something where I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction of quitting, so he took the satisfaction of firing me.
Well,
And it was that simple.
I have worked primarily with for-profit companies, and unfortunately, I've had to go sometimes to the president or the CEO and say, you are the problem, and that has not been
Yes,
well received. But if I'm going to
exactly.
keep my integrity, and I'm going to keep my reputation, that's something that I have to do, and so I have had that happen. I would say not a lot, but maybe 4 or 5 times. And of course, when I say that, I am not asked back, and perhaps that's changing. But I think some there are enlightened CEOs and there are non-enlightened CEOs, and many of them are not willing to hear the bad things. So uh, I would have to say that that's been a situation for me in the past.
Well, but I mean, the word integrity is the most important thing in what you were just talking about. I am not going to sit back and say nothing or do nothing when an executive of a client or organization is just simply ruining whatever is happening. And I am not going to necessarily go around that person's back and talk to the board. If a board member calls and says, wow, Jim keeps saying X and you keep saying 2 times X, what's going on? I will very delicately explain that while difference of opinion can happen and are legitimate in a business sense, and every organization, nonprofits, are also businesses, that there are some times where things simply need to be resolved one way or the other. Right now I have a situation where the entire board of a particular client is very favorably inclined to what I'm doing. The brand new incoming chairman of that board, who I have no idea why he was selected because he doesn't even know the organization very well, he is petrified of anyone that in his mind might turn the board against him. Now, that would never be my intent or focus, but I have to deal with that. It is the reality of it. So in that particular client situation, my work has turned out this year, while he's in his office, to be much more behind the scenes. And when he then moves on to being past chair, the dynamic will change again. Now, I could have said, and I'm still a heartbeat away from saying, this isn't worth it. I'm dropping this client. But I've been with them a long time, and I know that this too shall pass. So you have to pick your battles. I think that's important.
That's true. You know, you have to pick your battles. And I think it's really interesting that, that he's fearful that you would turn the board against him. I mean, it just shows you that people who come in as leaders have the same fears that we all do. You know, I mean,
that's right.
You would think that, I'm coming in with power and I know what I'm doing and I'm in charge, but they have the same insecurities that we do, and that's all a part of it. Well,
I should say that his insecurities are not limited to me. He has reacted in the identical fashion with every consultant that is serving that organization.
Oh, I'm sure that's true. I'm sure that's true. Well, you know, it's been a very interesting conversation with you, Carolyn, because you have really done a lot. You continue the firm after your husband passed away. That's
yes,
all very
did.
important, and people respect you for that. And I think it's amazing that you had double trouble. You had twins, and you raised them, and you had them, and you continued to build the business in a time where it was not necessarily women friendly. So I think all of that is a lot to be accomplished and to be thankful for. And I think you and I are of a generation of a different ilk, and we just got it done. That was it.
So, that's right. There was no choice.
Exactly.
You did it.
That's right. That's right. Well, we have just 1 minute left. Is there anything that you can say in 30 or 45 seconds that you'd like to add to our conversation today?
I think it's important for women to believe in themselves. I am a firm believer that everybody can do the work, and I know that women multitask 1,000% better than any man God ever put on this planet. You have to be willing to sometimes just bite the bullet and forge ahead, and other times you have to learn to know when to step back. You have to have your own personal plan, and you have to be true to yourself. You do not have to be a rabble-rouser. You simply have to show that you are worth the effort.
Well said. And with that, we're going to say goodbye for our show today, and really enjoy the conversation with you, Carolyn. By the way, give them your...
Thanks, Gail. I look forward to seeing you again.
Give them your website.
My website is Fazio, Fazio International.com.
FazioInternational.com. If you're looking for a strategist, if you're looking for someone who works with nonprofits, be sure to be in touch with Carolyn. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for the opportunity, Gail. I enjoyed our conversation.